And then you had your White Coat Summit on the steps of the Supreme Court. What was it that inspired, what propelled you from organizing doctors to this incredible event?
Do people here remember that? They remember saying, okay, that was good, yeah. So sometimes people ask me, did I know what would happen? So I was just, living a nice life here in Beverly Hills and working, and right? And then, but I'm getting more and more agitated by what I'm seeing. So I decide that we have to do something, we have to speak out. So I said, well, let's have doctors talk directly to the people, right? Let's bypass the media, because obviously the media was lying. Not only do we kind of know generally that the media lies, let me give you a specific example, right? I'm not really very political. I have my own beliefs, they are politically conservative, but I wouldn't say I'm overly political. Yeah. So starting in May, I started getting put together with different people in the press, and we ended up having a press conference by Zoom. Ever hear of such a thing? Press conference by Zoom. But there was maybe 50 papers there. It was a huge kind of press conference. So the Associated Press reporter follows up with some questions for me, and he tells me that he's heard that I'm on the short list to be something with the Trump administration. And I'm like, oh, wow. I was like, he says, well, he just wants to confirm that with me. I'm like, no, absolutely not. I said, no one has ever said anything like that to me. Well, no, I have it. I definitely have a good authority that you're definitely on the short list. I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, well, that sounds cool, right? but I've never heard of such a thing. Yeah. So I kept saying that to them. No, I've never heard of that. And then I said, but I would be honored to be considered. But I'd never heard of such a thing. So when he writes his newspaper article, what he writes was, and Dr. Gold, who denied being part of the Trump administration. Some sentence like that. And I was like, oh, they're so dishonest. I said we were a grassroots physicians organization, and he just pretended it was political. So now half the nation didn't want to hear from us. And all of a sudden I was a quack, and all of a sudden I was political. We were really apolitical. If you watch the summit, absolutely. There were doctors, Dr. Bob Hamilton, some of you may know him, in Santa Monica, and Dr. Stella Manuel. We were just frontline doctors that were speaking truth, and we were portrayed immediately by a dishonest media that we were overly political, which we weren't as a group. We never really came out and spoke out again on anything political. Yeah. We kept to our lane.
Well, yes and no. You kept to the medical lane, but the medical lane was completely exploited for their purpose, right?
But we were entirely grassroots.
But you were.
So we decided, my whole vision was, let's go and speak to the American people directly, because the media is so dishonest. But we didn't know how big it would be. So, one day I'm working as an ER physician, which I've trained to do for all of my life. And by the way, it's a pretty good career. I liked it. I was making good money. It was good. Yeah. And then we do our White Coat Summit, and I didn't sleep for 48 hours. It was just, the world had exploded. That was a Monday. It happened coincidentally on Wednesday. There was a big tech subcommittee hearing in Congress, and Zuckerberg was in the hot seat, and they asked Zuckerberg about me directly. And why did you censor the doctors? Why did you censor Dr. Gold? And he said something like, they're spreading disinformation. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it was very obvious. I got fired from my jobs as an ER physician. I don't talk about it that much because I don't like to exploit things, but I was just a do-gooder. I was literally working for a Native American reservation. People in this room don't know that. So I was doing that 1 week a month, living on a Native American site south of Tucson. And then I was also working here in Los Angeles, and both hospitals loved me, and they both fired me immediately. And I remember thinking, it's kind of scary. What I trained for was very specific, right? Is to be a hospital doctor. I mean, I wasn't really going to go out and open up an office. It was scary. It's honestly very scary to just get fired out of nowhere. On the other hand, it was nothing I would have ever changed or regretted, because I couldn't live in the world of lies. It was complete lies from top to bottom. Anything you thought, this is a room that was awake, but I can't think of anything that we were told in the COVID years that was true. I can't think of one. 6-foot social distancing, completely made up. It was also made up so that the schools would be closed, because schools couldn't stay open with that degree. Most schools didn't have that kind of room. It was a very specific thing. They had Fauci on the stand in the Senate in January of 24, and he admitted it was totally fabricated.